Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. With me, your host, Ken. I'm a retired teacher documenting my hobby journey here on the pod, finding teachable moments to share with all of you along the way. Don't forget to hit me up on social media on Instagram at sportscard_lessons. Hit the follow button. And you can also find me on YouTube by searching Sports Card Lessons. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Welcome, everyone. How is everyone doing? If you're on the East Coast, you are wet and soggy. Since Hurricane Ian, it's been doing nothing but raining here for almost a week. I think it's been a week. It feels longer than a week. And cold, too, just cold and windy. I played golf Monday night. It was 55 or 54 degrees. It was windy. It was definitely much different than I'm used to with the summer being so hot as it's been. But all the way up the East Coast, it's been raining, right? Preparing for football over the weekend, getting ready for fantasy, things like that. All the forecasts everywhere from Baltimore, Washington, Philly, New York, everywhere it was raining all weekend. So hopefully the weather will clear up soon and it'll warm up again just a little bit. But speaking of fantasy, the fantasy gods did me dirty again. I went 1-3 again and lost both games, the two that I lost by a total of 10 points. And the game I won by 2 points. So that's how close my games have been. I was winning by 17 points going into Monday night's game. Everyone on my team had already played, and my opponent only had San Fran's defense. Only had San Fran's defense. I'm figuring slam dunk. I've got this one. And if you watch that game, that pick six late in the game crushed me. Come on, man. How does this happen? And not only that, then there was another fumble after that, or a turnover. I was like, "Are you kidding me? How many times are you going to give this ball away?" Anyways, I lost that one by 4. I was winning by 17 points, and I lost that by 4 points to the guy who was in last place in the league. And Tuesday, okay, he has bragging rights, but Tuesday he's posting all day about how he won and his defense got him the win. And to add insult to injury, he sends me a trade or some ridiculous trade on Tuesday as well. So I think he's just taking a couple extra jabs at me. But hopefully I'm going to rebound back I'm going to get on the winning side of some of these very close losses. And I think with fantasy, I think that happened to me last year. I think that, I had a lot of wins. I don't know if I talked about this. I had 4 teams in fantasy last year, and I won the championship in 3, and I came in second place in the 4th one. And I just think there were a lot of games that were just close that I came out on the winning end, that a Monday night guy would go off and 15 or 20 points. And I was doing this to people last year, so now I'm on the wrong end of it this year, but hopefully that'll turn around. But let's get started. Let's talk about the QB values after week 4. The Zach Wilson, the XRCs. We'll start with the XRCs. The BGS 9.5. Alt has it at $350. That is up $48 this week and is up $77 on the year. So Zach, who is injured, I think his cards probably took a big hit being injured before the season started. So he is actually on an upswing right now and playing well. Mac Jones. Now we're going to the injured guy. Mac Jones, PSA 10. So Alt has it at 461. That's down $72 and down $289 on the year. And Card Ladder has that at 401. That's down $19, and Card Ladder has that down $445 on the year. So he is definitely down. Trevor Lawrence, who's playing well, right? XRC PSA 10. Alt has this at $939. He is up $42 on the week, but down $36 on the year. Card Ladder has it at 761, which is down 273 and down $177 on the year. Seems like Card Ladder has a bigger swing than Alt. That the Card Ladder swing seems to be a lot bigger when they swing one way or another price wise. Where Alt kind of takes its time going up and down. The Josh Allen XRC PSA 10 alt value this week $2,926. That's down $71, and on the year it's down $174. And he's playing well, right? Here's a guy favored to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl, anyways. Justin Herbert PSA 10 XRC alt has this at $1,923, down $91 from last week. And Card Ladder has it at $2,086, which is up $420. And I want to kind of see here if, and this is what I was thinking as I was pulling these prices, if Card Ladder is kind of ahead of Alt on certain things. Like here now you have Justin Herbert, who was injured, right? And people really didn't know what was going to happen, but then he came back and played great this past week. So now Card Ladder has him up $420, where Alt has him down $91. So it's going to be interesting to see if next week, if Alt follows suit next week and they come up on price. But I'll definitely keep you updated on that. The Joe Burrow XRC PSA 10 alt has that at $1,283. That is down $53. And Card Ladder has that at $1,609, and that is up $6. So you look right there. There's almost a $400 or $300 and something difference between those two prices, between $1,283 on alt and $1,609 on Card Ladder. So we'll wait and see if Card Ladder is ahead, if Alt is just going to catch up, or they're just going to be two separate prices. The Patrick Mahomes Silver Prism BGS 9 Alt has it at $891. That's down $46 and down $109 on the year. And Card Ladder has that at $830, down $40, and on the year, it's down $20. Tom Brady, Bowman Chrome, BGS 9. Alt has that at $2,632, down $155 on the week, and on the year, it's down $518. Card Ladder has it at $3,300. It's up $551. Now, you remember last week, Card Ladder dropped this card by $500 last week. Now, this week, it's up over $500. And on the year, it's completely even. When we started, Card Ladder had this card at $3,300, and that's where it's listed today. So on the year, this card is completely even. And we'll do this again next week, and we'll just keep getting an idea of where these prices are going on this. But, I talked about this throughout the spring and summer, just talking, and even as early as last week, just talked about how the values of these football cards just go down once the season starts. That there's so much hype before the season, and then when the season starts, they go down. And then when someone starts playing well, their card may or may not come up. I mean, we're seeing it here. People are playing well, and their cards may be dropping a little bit. So it's just a funny time right now. We're only 4 weeks in. We're, just moving into week 5 right here. So hoping, I mean, as a dealer, you're always hoping that these prices are gonna climb up, because when I'm buying cards under comps, I want to sell them at comps. But if the comps continue to drop, I'm losing my margin on cards. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. Prime time card show this weekend at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Mass. Set up with my buddy Rob, sports card therapist. It's good to get back out to his show. I felt like it's been forever, like it's been months, and I know it's only been since August, but it just feels like it's been months and months since we set up at a show. So it was good just to get back and get set back up again. Our neighbor, John at Sandbox Memorabilia, new guy. We just met him. He was a great guy, and I'm glad he was. I'm glad he was a great guy. I'm glad he was going to be there Sunday, because I knew I was probably going to rely on him a little bit on Sunday, because I knew Rob was only there Saturday. He was not going to be there Sunday, and it's nice to have somebody you can rely on and say, hey, could you just watch my table for a little bit while I either run to the bathroom or go look at some cards or whatever I need to do. And we were able to do that. I was able to reciprocate to him too, to allow him to run off too. So it was a good neighbor to have. There's so much excitement to build up to a show. And if you're a dealer, you know what I mean. It's almost like going on vacation, right? You're preparing or going to go stay somewhere overnight or something. And you're packing your bag, and you want to make sure you have this, you have that. The week before, even though I've pretty much got everything down to a science, I'm still, getting ready, making sure, double checking, making sure. There's just so much preparation. And I always feel it's like a vacation, right? Nothing keeps me up at night. I sleep like a baby, but I get to the show and I talk to, like my buddy Rob and some other people. They always talk about, oh, I was so excited for the show. I slept like an hour last night. And, when you get ready for these shows, to get to these shows, like you literally have to get up at 4 a.m. Right? You want to get up. You don't have to. You want to get up. You want to get in there. You want to get good parking. You want to get in, get your stuff set up, give you a chance just to walk around. Say you want to talk with people, because a lot of times you haven't seen people in a while. You want to talk with them. You want to check on other people's cases, see what's going on. It's just excitement. It's whole excitement thing. So you're up at 4 a.m. and you're running around and you're packing up and you're driving and you're getting there. So if you're that excited the night before and you only have a couple hours sleep, that's going to hit you at some point on Saturday. Whereas for me, I get excited, but there's not a lot that keeps me up, keeps me from falling asleep. So, and I've consolidated things down so much when I pack the car. It is funny. Like, I literally should have taken pictures of what my car looked like when I started going to shows. The whole thing was full. I had shelving, I had boxes, I would stop, Rob and I would drive together and he'd be like, is there any room in there to put my stuff in? I'm like, yeah, we can make room. Everything will fit. And we made it fit. But now when I load my car up, I'm like, there's got to be something missing. I mean, I'm looking, I'm checking. I'm like, is there anything missing? I've got all this extra room. But I've consolidated things down so much, and I've been learning throughout the year on what to bring, what not to bring, what I need to have, what I don't need to have, and I've really shed a lot of things off and just lean and mean getting to these shows. And it's it's kind of a big deal when you show up, because you've got to roll everything in, and you've got your cart. So if your cart is stacked way up high, I mean, it really makes for a long walk wherever you're going from, versus if you've got everything. I've got everything so compact on my cart with bungee cords. Everything's got a place. I can set it up in a few minutes, and I can roll with ease, knowing that things aren't going to be falling off or flying off. Not like our little episode in New York when we had a singles box all over a New York street sidewalk back in I guess that was February, last February. And Rob keeps sending that picture. I'll post that picture up just for laughs. For first and foremost, I want to thank all the listeners that came by to see me, kind of give me a pat on the back. It means so much to me. I mean, I know people are listening. I can see the numbers, and the numbers are growing every week, and I get excited about that. But it's just so nice to put faces to these numbers. People that I don't even know are just showing up and saying, "Hey, I love the content. I love the podcast." A number of people told me, show up at the table this week and say, "Hey, great episode. I listened to it on the way over to the show." Right there, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what I do. I listen to content. I'm listening to content in the car. And when I started this, it was, this was the kind of the content I wanted people to listen to when they're in the car, while they're at work, that type of thing. And it's just so great. I just want to thank people. I really like it. If you don't ever not stop by and say like anything. I really appreciate if you see me at a show, just come over and just say hello. I really appreciate the support like that. People just, you know, coming over and saying hi and tell me how much they like the pod. I want to say this show felt like a slow show, but I think having 400 tables in a big room with everything spread out, it's just didn't seem busy. Um, and I think when it's not busy, it gives dealers a lot of time to go out too. So when people are coming to your table, you never know, uh, are you an attendee? Are you a dealer? Uh, Sometimes at some of the bigger shows, we have lanyards that you put on when you're a dealer. And I noticed a lot of people pull those lanyards off when they go off and do a little shopping. This show, there were dealers had white bracelets. So you knew right away when somebody showed up if they were a dealer or an attendee. And I think there was as many dealers as attendees that showed up to my tables, and a lot of tire kickers. A lot of tire kickers. Um, this is my third time doing this show, and I talk about earlier in the pod. Know the show, and this is what I'm doing now. Two times, three times, four times getting to do these shows. So I know the show. I know what people are looking for. I know what's going to sell. I know what's sold in the past. I know what to expect. For this show, I know in the past I sold a bunch of singles out of the single boxes and the discount boxes. So preparing for this show, I made up 5 or 6 different singles boxes, with some different levels of football, $1 football, $2 football, and then priced football anywhere from $3 up to say $30. I had a discount box of slabs. I tried some hockey cards this time. I have a 5 row of hockey cards. As you know, I've been talking about opening up a lot of hobby boxes, and I did not sell one hockey card. Not one hockey card. I put that whole 5 row box together and didn't sell one card. But I never set up hockey cards there before, right? I know it was something that I was trying out new. Now this hockey box that I have, I'm going to start taking to all the shows. Maybe one of these shows, people will be like, "Oh, yeah, this is great. This is where I want to be." This show here was a lot of football singles that I sold, and this show in the past, I sold a lot of wrestling singles. This time, not so much. Not so much. Not too many people going through so wrestling is down right now, and I think the the last show that I did there, I want to say was in June, and SummerSlam was coming in July. And I think there was a little hype behind wrestling. So I think it was a little popular then. There's nothing big happening right now in wrestling, no build up in wrestling. So I think maybe that's why the wrestling is down a little bit. But again, just getting to know the show. And my boxes were popular. I sold more cards out of my singles box than I sold out of my cases. As I expected on Saturday, and I was saying this to a lot of people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense." that because they had the Saturday Night Live and the trade night at the Basketball Hall of Fame, I felt most people would come later. I would, if it was me, if I was an attendee and I said, I want to do the show, the Hall of Fame, and the live, uh, all all that was very close to itself. So if I was traveling in, I would definitely come later in the day, hope for a good deal at the tables. Maybe come in around 2 o'clock or so, 2, 3 o'clock, do that, grab a bite to eat, and then go to the Hall of Fame. And I think that's what most people did. Most people I talked to that I knew that were coming as attendees, that I knew were showing up, that I was communicating with, they did that. That's what they did. So later in the day, my sales were slow most of the day, but between 4 and 5 o'clock, I had the most sales of the day. Nothing earth shattering, but enough that paid for my weekend, which was good. I like to get that out of the way early. I like to get the weekend paid for early, and then I could sit back and relax. As I talked about, 75% of my slabs are at or just above comps. When I say just above, I mean a little negotiation, right? Somebody, if it's at 850 and I have it at 900, people say you take 850 for it, of course, right? So nobody ever walks up to the table and says, "Oh, I will just pay you the 850 because it is 850." So you need to leave a little room for negotiation, but 75% of my slabs are there. There's some that I'm into, and I'll tell people right away, I'm high on those. But it seemed like most people wanted them under comps. I had a few people say to me, if I buy these at comps, I can't make any money. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm the dealer. I'm the one that's selling it at comps. This is what happens at slower shows. And this is the downfall of being at a slower show. You may spend a lot of time negotiating and somebody working, and basically they're telling you, if you don't sell it to me at that, somebody else in this room will, and I'm going to go find that person. And at that point, I have to say, go ahead and good luck. People want to think at these slower shows that you're desperate for sales, right? And they feel, and they're probably right. They're probably right. There's probably somebody in that room that's willing to go down an extra $100 or an extra 75 or an extra $200 or whatever it is, so they can make some sales. But it doesn't work as a dealer. I can't go, if a card comps out at $1,000, and I'm always using that $1,000 price point. If a card comps at $1,000 and I'm buying it at $850 and I'm putting it in my case at $1,050, if you come in and try to buy it at $800, it's a loss. It's a complete loss for me. I didn't even rent the card. I took an L on that card. And I can't. And that's kind of what was happening this weekend. People are like, well, I know the comps are 850. I'll give you 700. Final offer, 720 or 740 cash. The answer is still no. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't sell that card for less than I refuse to. I refuse to. It's just bad business. And I know this is just the beginning of the busy season for these shows. I have a number of very big shows coming up that they're not going to be slow. It's going to be extremely busy. It's going to be extremely competitive. And I'm not going to just allow these cards to go for under comps because I want sales, not when I can hold them for another month and move them at comps and maybe above comps. So that's not what I can do. And I'm sure there are people in the room that are doing that. I'm sure there are people that have to do that. And I'm not knocking them for that. I'm not going to be that guy. And this was the first time people were getting like a little upset. They're like, what do you mean you can't? Like, I don't know, almost trying to bully a little bit. Like, what do you mean you can't? So you could sell me that. You could sell me that card right now for that. Well, of course I can, but I'm not going to. And I'm telling people, I'm into that card for this. I'm not going to rent it. It's like renting the card. If I go and I negotiate, I put all my skills at work and I negotiate to get this card under comps, and I come here and then you show up and I go, oh yeah, I'll give it to you a comp. So I've done all that work for nothing. I just can't do that. And it's not going to happen. Not in my case anyways. So Saturday was an average day at a slow show. Had some sales late in the day. Packed up, went over to the Basketball Hall of Fame for the Saturday Night Live Hobby Talk, hosted by my buddy Rob Gerard, sports card therapist. And I have to say, his MC skills were top notch. Top notch. All this time knowing him, I've never seen him MC or, speak publicly. Kid, he absolutely killed it. What a great job emceeing. And he was all the talk Sunday morning. Now, he didn't come back Sunday. I had both tables. We each had a table Saturday. I had both tables on Sunday. Everybody was coming back. Where's Rob? I just want to tell him what an amazing job he did. And I agreed 100% with everybody that showed up. I just wish he would have been there to hear that instead of having me relay it onto him later in the day. But great job done by him. I did enjoy the hobby talk. I did enjoy that, and I know there's future plans to do it again, and I'll definitely go again. Definitely just some knowledgeable people just talking about the hobby. Probably nothing that was new to me, but I think people are just like a little worried right now. People who are deep in the hobby, like I'm gonna say I'm pretty deep into the hobby. Uh, and I know people are just worried because they just don't know where the prices of these cards are going. The market corrected, and that's where it stayed. And now the football season is here, and the cards have dropped a little bit again. So, I think people are just afraid to. Um, I'm not going to say afraid. I think they're just worried / curious because they just don't know what's next with the hobby. And I think that's almost a little good. I mean, it's a good thing for this hobby right now because it was almost like a reset, but people didn't want to, in my opinion, I think when the market corrected on the cards, it was a reset, but people didn't want to see it as a reset. And I think people are starting to see it now as a reset. And I think we're starting to look at, what the new comps are on a lot of these cards. And I have a lot of these cards. So it's not like I'm talking about somebody else's cards. I have a good number of these cards, but my cards only go up so high. There are people with much more money invested than I do. And they're, obviously a little bit more worried. There's stories being told how people before the market correction bought into cards at, $30,000, $40,000, and at National they were selling these cards at $8,000 and $10,000. So those were the people that was like in the stock market. When the market starts to come down, do you sell, do you hold? Well, I'm a guy, when that market dropped, I kept buying more stock. I didn't sell what I had. I just kept, the prices come down, I'm just going to buy more. And I'm just going to buy more because I think sooner or later that those prices are going to go back up. And I'm going to be the one saying, yeah, you know what? I was buying for 3 years and now it came back up. Now look at me. And I think this may be the same with the card market too. I don't see it going anywhere. I see it rebounding. Maybe not as high as the stock market probably will, but it's definitely gonna. People talk about these. These are investments. People are buying these as investments, just like you would buy stock, right? So, I did make an appearance after that. I did make an appearance at Trade Night afterwards, hosted by Geo and Sly, Smith Street Bros. Everything looked great over there, including the cash bar. 2 thumbs up for the cash bar. I did not stay. I did not indulge in the cash bar. I was driving home and driving back up the next morning. So I did not stay very long for that. It had been a long day. Like I said, I was up at 4 a.m. And at this point, it was about 8 o'clock at night. And I knew I had to be back ready to go Sunday morning. So Sunday morning, there were less dealers on Sunday, a number of empty tables. And I do know timing wise was 9 to 4 on Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was 9 to 4. And people started packing up around noontime. I could see people leaving. Now, I know they had some baseball people autographing, coming in for autographs, and that was running from 11 to 2. So my thought process was I'll stay to at least 2. People coming in to get a picture, an autograph. I was by the front door, so they'd see me coming in, they'll see me going out. So hopefully, I would get a sale out of that. And so people were leaving. I said people were packing up around noontime, and it was pretty much steady throughout the afternoon because I was at the front door. I could see people, rolling by with their carts. But for me, the opportunist, right? Sunday being slow gave me time to run off and make some deals, and deals I made. So I'm just going to talk to you about a few of the deals I made at the show. Funny story. My buddy Billy, if you go all the way back to season 1 and you talk about the person I golf with who started talking to me about cards and got me interested in buying cards way back when. So we still golf together. And the week before, we were trying to set up some time for golf, and Billy's like, I'm not available the following weekend at all. And I was like, oh, that's good, because I'm not available either. I didn't want to, have to be the guy to say, hey, I can't make it, because I knew I had this show. And so when I set up at the show Saturday, here comes Billy and his son walking by. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, no wonder why he couldn't play golf. He was going to be, I had no idea he was setting up at the show. So he hadn't played golf in a couple of weeks from one reason or another. So, yeah, so that was kind of funny. So him and his son, Tommy, Tommy's on Instagram, Tommy_Mattioli19. Always great to see them. Listeners of the pod. And, I went over, Billy was setting up, and I went over and I was talking with him, and he pulled out some hockey cards. I'm like, oh, yes, please. So I bought all 4 of his hockey cards off him. They were all, there were 4 graded 1980 Wayne Gretzky second-year cards that Billy told me he pulled these in 1981, and he sent them off for graded. So the cards are all 1980. So the first one is the number 250 to PSA 5. And if you're on YouTube, I'm holding them up. You can see that one. The next one is the checklist PSA 6. The next one is the All-Star PSA 4. And the last one is the Record Breaker PSA 6. Oh, wrong way. Sorry. Record PSA 6. And I also, from another dealer, picked up a Raw 250 as well. I'm just holding that up too. So I got a number of these now, second-year Gretzky cards. Shout out to John from Behind the Diamond. So the deal I made this weekend, this deal started back at East Coast National with a dealer John knew, because John knows that I'm into Mike Tyson cards. And he said, oh, I got a guy over there. Go see this guy. He's got this Mike Tyson card. So I went over, and I just couldn't get the deal done with the guy. And I, after the show, I talked with John a number of times about the card. And I said, I'd be willing to pay X amount, but not that amount. And he said, when I see him, I'll talk to him. I'll see what I can do. And then he messaged me a week before the show saying he was coming to the show. And he also said the guy with this Tyson card was going to be at the show. And I said, well, why don't you work on him? You know what my price would be. And he ended up getting a deal done. So I'm very excited about this card. This is one of those cards that I saw back at East Coast National. and I can't find another one like it. I mean, I've been looking, and the comps on ones that are similar are you can always, and it's so hard. If you're on one side, you're like, well, this one is similar. It's a few years before or after, and it was numbered to 25 and not to 10, and it went for this. But if you're not looking at the same card, it's so hard to comp a card. So I was not able to find this card anywhere or really find comps on this card. One similar, but not like this one. And I'm just going to hold this one up here. This is all-time greats. Iron Mike Tyson, gold on-card auto, numbered to 15. So I'm pretty excited about finally getting the deal done. Thanks, John, for helping that happen. I did pick up an XRC, not the ones I was looking for over the weekend, but a Baker Mayfield. I'm holding that up now. XRC PSA 9. And I need to report I paid over comps on the card. So the dealer had it for $150. And I looked up the alt value, and alt had it at $58. I said, what's the best you can do, knowing that alt value is $58? And the last one comped at $75. And he said, I could do 100. And I said, well, I'm thinking more 75. I'll pay the last comp on it. I'm not going to pay the alt value. And he said, yeah, go ahead. So I got this one for 75. I was kind of excited about that. I did not see, I'll tell you what, I did see Lamar Jackson. There was somebody there with two Lamar Jackson XRCs, PSA 9s. And I talked to him on Saturday. I talked to him on Saturday again. I talked to him on Saturday a third time. And this guy was kind of all over the place. He, another dealer, the comps were at 360. I told him I'd give him 400. He said he wanted 650. I said, we're so far off. He said, well, he's playing well. I said, but it doesn't matter how well he's playing. It's the comp. The comp's the comp. I mean, the last few sold, I said, I could sit and watch eBay for one to come up, or I mean, if you want to make a sale, we can make a sale. So then he's like, let me think about it. I'll come talk to you. Yeah, he never came and talked to me. And then I was going to the bathroom and I saw him. He says, I pulled that card aside. Come see me. Let's make a deal. And I said, okay. I went back and he said, I said, well, I'm willing to give you the 400 for it. And he said, I can do 425. I said, okay, I'll take it at 425. Then he says, you have to do me a favor. He has two of them. He says, you have to do me a favor. Wait till tomorrow morning. I want to take this card to trade night. What? You just made a deal to sell me the card. Why would you want to take it to trade night? He says, well, if I can sell it there for more, I will. I go, well, then I guess we don't have a deal done. I mean, I've never heard such a thing. He says, well, if I still have it tomorrow morning, I'll sell it to you for 4. I said, all right, whatever. So I left. So I see the guy the next morning. He says, I have your card. I have it put aside. I said, okay. He said, but I don't know if I can sell it to you or not. I said, well, what happened at trade night? He said, no one was interested in it. I said, well, are you going to sell me the card or not? He says, yeah, but let me come to your table. He never came to my table. I never saw him again after that. But it was just such a weird interaction over a card that he had two of. It's not only like he had just the one card, he had two identicals right together. So, so the Baker Mayfield was the only XRC that I picked up over the weekend. And then there was the big deal of the day on Sunday for me. Shout out to Matt on IG at mrod_cards. So Matt came to my table earlier in the day. He was interested in my 2017 limited Patrick Mahomes RPA to 49. The card is raw. We talked prices. I looked at his cards. He had a high-end Josh Allen card. I asked about prices. He said there were no comps. I don't like when there's no comps on cards. Being new in the hobby, I say new. newer than most people. Some people, like, they know every variation of card, and they can, right off the top of their head, nail it. With me, I need, even when I know a card, I still want to look it up. I still want to check and double check. The more value of the car, the more checking I want to do, because I want to make sure I don't get burned. And he said, "Look, there's no comps on the card." I said, "Okay." I moved on at that point. I looked at some of his other cards. We talked a little bit more, talked about prices, and then he left. He walked off. And then after he was gone, I thought, "Oh, I never even looked up that Allen card, to see what information I could pull up on it." But the card was gone. It was gone. I went about the day. A couple hours later, I was sitting there at the table, and he came back and he was talking with my neighbor. And I said, "Hey, can I just look at that Josh Allen card again?" He says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He pulls it out. He gives it to me. I looked up the alt value. Alt had it at $3,753. And he was interested in my Mahomes, the RPA to 149. And that card raw, the values on that range anywhere from mid to upper 1600s to $2,700. And people say it has to do with the patch and this and that. What's it going to sell for? I've had that card in my case since the spring, and really hadn't had much action with it. People like the card, but either never make an offer on it or tell me the offer they would make would offend me. The closest I came to selling that card was at National for $2,100. I didn't want to come down. We were at 24. He wanted to give me 21, and then he said, "If I do it all cash, will you do 21?" And I said, "Yes." So then he said, "All right, I'm going to be right back." And he never came back. So that deal never got done. So that was the closest I came to selling that card. On my end with that card was all profit. If you remember back in episode 11, called The Biggest Hobby Deal to Date, I purchased this card along with Joe Burrow RPA, Herbert RPA, and a Herbert autographed card, authenticated, slabbed. So I bought those cards. Now those three cards, the Burrow, the Herbert, I sold those two cards alone paid for the whole deal. The other Herbert, that was the autographed, that card ended up going to a trade. That I picked up the Trevor Lawrence XRC PSA 10. So this card was, at this point, this card is all cash to me, right? So whatever I can get for this card owes me nothing. And after agreeing on a price with the Mahomes, I wasn't comfortable paying cash up to the comp of the Josh Allen card. So I said, "Hey, look in my case. Is there anything else in my case you're interested in?" He liked the Josh Allen, the Blue Prism, the PSA 9. And if you remember just a few episodes ago, a local show, I picked that up and I traded two basketball cards. One I'd gotten in another deal at way below comps, and one that was the Panini Black Box from National. So I traded those two cards and received cash back for the Josh Allen. So here's a second card that was pretty much all profit for me. So we closed the deal with those two cards and cash. I paid cash out. And this is the card that I ended up getting. It was a 2018. I'm holding that up. It's a Panini Select Josh Allen field level tricolor prism, numbered to 99, and it's a PSA 10. This is now the biggest card in my case. So I'm very excited to get this card. And I'm excited to move the Mahomes RPA. Not that I thought it was a bad card, because I thought it was a great card, because I never would have taken it in the first place if it wasn't a great card. But the card was not graded. And I knew, and anybody who looked at it knew it would never grade out a 10. It could grade out an 8. It could grade out a 9. Um, and the autograph itself, the autograph kind of went into his leg, so I don't think the auto would have graded a 10. And I can tell you all these things because everybody's picked this card apart. I mean, I've heard everything on this card, how the card is so terrible, but I knew it was a great card. And people telling me it's a terrible card, I'm pointing things out because, they wanted to make like $1,000 offer on it, like they were doing me a favor, taking the card off my hands. So I was glad. I was so happy to move this card into something that I was excited about. I don't think, even though I was asking in my case $2,500 for this card, I kind of expected, if somebody was going to pay me cash for it, it was probably going to be $1,800 cash, and then a trade value. I felt, I could get higher numbers on that, and I was happy to move into a card like this that's graded, that there's no doubt in, and I believe in Josh Allen. I mean, I believe in Patrick Mahomes, and in this case behind me, I have a number of Mahomes cards, and there's more that I want to get, but that card wasn't the card, wasn't the end all card for me that I wanted to keep in my case. That was a card that I wanted to move into a higher Mahomes or something higher, and I thought a Brady or an Allen. So when this Allen came along, I was excited about that. So shout out again to Matt on IG at Emrod_cards. Thanks for the deal. I love my new Josh Allen, and I hope you're as happy with your Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Going to shut it down now. Talk about some upcoming shows. I have the Hofstra show coming up in Long Island, October 16th and 17th. Now, my buddy Rob, sports card therapist, he will be there Saturday manning the table by himself, and I will be there Sunday by myself. So we're splitting up the weekend on this one. Previously, I talked about the Mohegan show, but the Laz shows, and we all know how I feel about the Laz shows. Laz has added another show at La Quinta Inn and Suites in Secaucus, New Jersey. If you've been a listener to the pod from the beginning, you'll talk about this was the show that started me on shows, how busy this show is, and just how great these shows are down there in New Jersey. So this one is November 19th and 20th. So I am taking off the calendar the Mohegan Sun show for me, and I'm adding the last show at Secaucus, New Jersey, November 19th and 20th. I have been emailing back and forth to the fellas at Causeway show in Massachusetts, in Boston, and that's a November 26th show. So I have a question mark on that now. I'm waiting to hear back to see if they are going to offer me a table at that show or not. So stay tuned on that. In fact, besides that, all the shows that I'm doing, including the November one, are all Laz shows. So Laz has the Garden State Card Show in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, on December 10th. And he also has the Big Apple Trading Card Show at the New Yorker Hotel in New York City on Sunday, December 18th. So these are some big shows that I was talking about earlier. I have some big shows coming up, and here we go. Here they are, and definitely looking forward to them, getting excited for these shows as well. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, be good to yourselves and everyone around you.